Oh, never mind. Better be buttoned now.
March 13th, 2023, All right, Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Ms. McInnes?
Here.
Mr. Schaefer? Ms. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Harnsmeyer? Mr. Wright? Mr. Baird?
Here.
Mayor Isbell?
Here.
Ms. Templeton?
Yes.
All right, you have 6 present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, everybody probably received a copy of the agenda for today. Any changes or not? Take a motion for approval of the agenda. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Archie. All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. No citizens or delegations here. Okay, the minutes for our last meeting, which I forgot. So, does anybody have any questions on those minutes? If not, I hear a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Archie. Second. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, financial report.
If you look at your sheets and look at the balance sheet detail report, you'll see up there that we closed the account completely. Everything is in Volunteer State Bank. Also, the interest has gone up tremendously from what we were getting. In the investment pool, we have $761,000. Total checking and savings is $4,574,000. It looks like on the other sheet with the budget versus actual that we're in line pretty much with what we should be.
Thank you, Carolyn. Anybody have any questions for Carolyn? All right, I hear a motion for approval of the financial report.
So moved.
Thank you, Ben. Second. Thank you, Archie. Okay, Mike.
Yes, sir. So first, our newest member, Teddy Baird, he comes from Portland. He is a career firefighter, been in service for over 25 years, I believe, serving at Gallatin and now Portland. So I think that he will bring quite a bit of experience from the user end of the fire side, just like Mr. Harris has done for many years. So I want to welcome him and to the board. Let's see, so for the director's report, a couple things I want to bring up is we received an invitation from Metro Nashville a couple of weeks back to join in a fiber ring. This was initiated about a year ago between or among Metro, Brookwood, and Williamson County. Basically what they want to do is they want to get together and use existing fiber lines to connect their PSAPs. In the event that there is a failure or a fiber line that's cut, they can piggyback off of their neighboring PSAPs, and that way they can still run non-emergency calls. This is something that was implemented up in Pennsylvania many years ago. I think there are about 13 counties that are served by this same purpose. So Metro decided they wanted to do that, especially since the Nashville bombing. They did a test call a few weeks ago, and it is working. So that's when they decided they wanted to extend the invitation to us in Robertson County as well. So we have a call set up next Monday from Robertson County. We met with Steve Martini, who's the PSAP director in Nashville. I think this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for us for some, again, just more redundancy. Whereas right now we're only looking to piggyback off of other PSAPs for non-emergency calls. This has the availability long-term to run 911 calls or internet service or countless other things. But starting small, we're going to look at the possibilities. Startup costs are probably going to be very, very little. That's one of the first things I asked Mr. Martini. He says they're not out any money right now except for what they paid Mission Critical Partners to basically be the coordinating entity on this. So we'll give you some more information on that as that comes to pass. That's a good opportunity for us. And I think that was about it for my report. Everything is going well, no issues. Our refresh is moving along. We have a date scheduled for April 4th as our phone cutover. We have been testing I-3, which I sent you out a newsletter, I think about 2 months ago, from the State Emergency Communications Board that sort of detailed some things about I-3. We won't see a huge difference immediately, but that's the push from Next Gen is to go I-3. We just bought a new recorder system last year that is I-3 compliant. Our phone will be I-3 compliant, and we passed through testing last week for us to become I-3 compliant. So we're in good shape there, moving our technology forward and our availability forward also. And that is it from my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything to report?
No report.
All right, thank you. Director's report.
Okay. Currently, we have a staffing shortage at 8. We have 3 offers that we've made to candidates that will start on March 27th. All are pending pre-employment testing. We had another offer that was made to a candidate that can start on April 24th, and that's pending pre-employment testing as well. We are still reviewing applications to fill more vacancies in April. We're looking to hire possibly a total of 4. So we have 3 left. One expected departure on March 21st, and with the departures and the new hires, it will bring the shortage to 6 by the end of the month, and that's if everyone continues progressing and training like they should. The other thing that we have is our March 3rd storms. Our team did a phenomenal job handling the call volume that we received that day and getting units dispatched to the appropriate places. We received 1,448 calls from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. when we average on daily about 853 calls a day. 300 We love to see new faces, so if you'd like to come in and hang out with our TCs and just say, hey, you're doing a great job, they really appreciate visitors. And we'll have food and stuff that way as well, so come and eat with us. That's all that I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I felt like I got that many calls over my office at 12 o'clock. Okay. Old business, Mr. Guthrie.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry I didn't introduce Missy Beal. I don't know if everybody knows her. She is the office manager for the ECC. I think Christy and Amy are at a ties conference this week, so Missy's filling in with the report there. I want to echo they did a fantastic job. I've always seen the outside of the PSAP during a crisis, an emergency. So I know what happens out there, but I've never been able to see the inside of a PSAP during an event like this. Talk about organized chaos. This was it. People jumped right in there. They knew exactly what they were supposed to do. They answered calls. I was standing by Michael O'Neill, a telecommunicator, when somebody called in and complained, I believe on 911, that their hamburger bun was too hard. And this was during the storms. But to take calls like that and have patience and then just being bombarded, they did a fantastic job. So hats off to you all, what you're doing there. All right, on business. CAD RMS brought this up to the board, I believe in January, maybe the October meeting, that we're having some issues with our CAD and RMS vendor Central Square. One is the pricing that they continue to go up on. The level of support that we get is sometimes delayed, and we've had Central Square for several years. In addition to that, I think it's incumbent upon us to look to see what other options are available every so often, just to make sure that, one, we're getting a good deal, but more importantly, that there is not some vendor out there that doesn't have something that would better serve us and our community. So we've spoken with our client agencies who have also had some issues, especially on the law side, not so much the fire side. But on the law side, the law agencies have had some issues with the service that they're getting from Central Square. had everybody put together what they felt that they need on, for an RMS product as well as a CAD product. We put that out as a request for information to find out what this would roughly cost us to get some budgetary estimates. The estimates have come back from 5 vendors, anywhere between $1.1 million and $2.3 million for a CAD and RMS, a new CAD and RMS system. I believe in 2016, the board paid for the RMS program implementation fees for each agency, each client agency that wanted to take part in that. And then the maintenance fees were the responsibility of each department going forward from that. Now, I think we need to continue to look at different RMS and CAD vendors, see if there's something out there that's better, more economical. We might find that what we have is the best product. We might find what we have is the best price. And sometimes those things are not synonymous, as we all know. But I would like the board's direction on how we should proceed if we find a CAD and RMS vendor that provides us with what benefits not only our PSAP, but our client agencies as well. What's the board's will on funding that, if at all?
Any comments?
And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have to help guide you in making a decision.
Mike, when you're looking at these people, I mean, I know you're looking for just price, right?
Yes.
Can you call other agencies that maybe have worked for it and get some recommendations and feedback from them about how they've been doing?
So we've done that as well. The vendors that I previously pulled in and just sent out our specs and asked for just information, just a budgetary estimate, were vendors that either I've seen at a conference or that I know another agency has and uses. Now, what we want to do first, to speak to your point about the price, we want to make sure that our client agencies are getting what they need. That's why we put those in the specs. And then we send that out, and for the most part, the vendors we've talked to so far can provide most all those specs. Then we go forward with the price and talk about that. But my plan, what I would like to do is, I don't care if we have to interview 100 RMS vendors and CAD vendors. We have to do our due diligence and find out other agencies that are using those. And we can't just say, can't take the vendor's word for it. What I want to do is go to the particular PSAP that's using that CAD system, or a police department that's using an RMS system, and find out what the strengths and weaknesses are, what kind of customer service interaction they have. There has to be, this is a huge undertaking, admittedly, and I think we would fail ourselves and do some due diligence and do as much as we can to find out what's good and what's bad about the top 3 CAD systems. And again, we may find out after the process that we're better off than what we have today. So, but we're going to do our due diligence and find out what other agencies like and don't like about our system.
So you're going to bring back a recommendation to us on what you find, or?
If that's the way, of course, yes. It's the pick of all the client agencies. But if the board, knowing what the preliminary estimates are between $1.1 million and $2.3 million, I don't want to go forward and give any false hope to any client agencies or waste our time if the board is not willing to provide some direction on what they want.
Where are we at on the budget wise? Where are we at on the scale? Matt? Yearly?
You mean, what is it costing us? The maintenance fees for Central Square, just what I pay, which is for the ECC, was $365,000, I think. They also charge other fees for implementation. So right now, we're trying to implement Rapid Deploy, which is a free service that's provided by the state board, but Central Square implementation. And I know that sounds minor compared to $365,000. The point is, they charge fees for just about everything. I think the last vendor that we looked at, Civic Eye, they charge an upfront fee for interfaces, and that's it. There are no other interface fees. Their maintenance fees are significantly less than what we pay elsewhere. Again, the upfront cost is pretty significant, and the maintenance fee. And don't get me wrong, I mean, this is expensive stuff, expensive software to maintain. There's no doubt about that. We want the absolute best that we can get, but just know that it's pretty pricey as well.
Is that 1.1 to 2.5, is that the upfront to get it started?
Yes, those are the implementation fees.
Yeah.
Migrated from our current system to the new system and install the software. That also includes the implementation fees for all the mobile devices. Like, I don't know, Galvin probably has 70, I think, and Hendersonville has about 100. That includes those fees to get them started. It does not include the yearly maintenance fees that those departments would have to incur on their own. So this is once you pay it, you get it. That covers everybody in law for RMS and everybody for CAD, and the CAD system that goes in the ECC.
Is there a recurring fee year on that?
Yes, I think every vendor is going to have a maintenance fee that will be associated with that. If it gives you any, I'm reluctant because I'm going by memory here. I think what I read in the minutes in 2016, the RMS, I believe CAD program that we purchased was $1.6 million. And then you have the yearly maintenance fees on top of that. Like I just told Mr. Baird, last year we paid about $365,000. Now, you consider our budget, our operating budget is what, $1.5 million, I think. Yes, our budget this year was $1.5 million. A third of our budget was scheduled to go to that doesn't include maintenance fees for your recorder, your telephones, AT&T, that's a third of your
Don't you think, Mike, when you start getting these bids, don't you think that they ought to all be pretty, I mean, if you've got 4 or 5 right in here pretty close, and you've got one way down here and one way up here, there's something probably wrong with these two, what you think?
There could be, yes. I think probably what the highest one did, because there weren't, they're not definite specs from each law enforcement agency. And we're sort of unique in that we have, 13 agencies for which we dispatch, but you have the 5 municipalities, the county. So you have quite a few variables in there. So I think probably what the highest one did was said, okay, we're going to quote you on the high end, as opposed to us giving you, $1.5 million and then come back and take us and $2 million.
Yeah.
So I do respect that, and I appreciate that. I'd rather overestimate than underestimate. A suggestion. We can revisit this at our next meeting, which will be when we need to vote on the budget anyway. And we'll have some more vendors that we've looked at and talked to. But again, with all due respect, I just don't want to go forward with it if the board will not entertain the potential of looking at funding an RMS and CAD system. And another point to make is, are we going to continue on with the board purchasing the initial program of RMS for the client agencies, and then let them pay the maintenance fees going forward? You see what I'm saying?
And that's what we've done in the past, right?
in talking to Mr. Schaefer, he made the agreement to purchase the RMS system for the client agencies, in lieu of, it is tied to 911. I mean, there's, when a 911 call comes in, you dispatch them, you dispatch them through RMS. And an officer on the road or a medic or firefighter says, can you check the call history at this address? They use RMS for that. So it is tied to 911.
Do we need to wait until we get rid of this budget? Do we need to have a special meeting before this, or?
I think to appropriate a certain amount,
You think you want to have this included in the budget beforehand?
we will, but again, I don't, it's a big project.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I don't want to go through it, again, with interviewing the vendors or even putting it in the budget if it doesn't sound like the board would even entertain that.
What's the will of the board here?
I think, I want to go back a little bit to the square, that's the people, right?
And that's the one we have now.
So your main concern with them is maintenance and not being available to get stuff fixed.
The customer service
Yes.
is, in my opinion, lags. It's not always very quick.
And that's across the board. That's just not with RMS and that's just not with CAT. It's across the board. Anything they do is,
If we call them for a 911 outage, they're quick to respond. But if we, like I think I've been waiting for a couple of weeks on a response for an interface from them. There have been some other things where there's a significant delay. Okay, there was a program, Missy, help me out with this. It's not an initial assign, it was a search function. I forgot what it was. In our budget, and we pay for this part, the maintenance on that was, I think, around $10,000 a year just for that. So when I got here, I found out that I think Gallatin Police Department had put in a ticket through Central Square to have that fixed in like 2018 or 19, as of late last year, late 2022. With them, and I got them to refund us $26,000 for maintenance fees that we've paid for stuff that doesn't work. Well, why does it take 3 or 4 years to get that fixed or get that resolved? So it's things like that concern me. And again, in just the very least, let's see what else is available and see if there's something that is a better fit for us also.
and on them bids, do they have the maintenance fees for those companies? Some of them was cheaper than what we're paying now.
I mean, budgetary estimates, yes. Some were cheaper, some were more expensive, yes.
I would pay for something if you're not getting good usage out of it.
Would you like to defer it and let us come back with some more estimates and take the next couple of months to think about how you want, if you want to fund it, how you want to fund it, whether that be pay for it all up front or say that the individual client agencies are responsible for that? Would you like?
We'll get a pushback on that one tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I think of things a little bit different. People want to look at a precedent and see, and go by the precedent. To me, a precedent had to be set after another precedent was set. So things change, so I get that. But our client agencies, we do serve them, and RMS system does help telecommunicators as well as the first responders on the street. So I will say that there is a benefit to the ECC by having a quality alarm in the system.
I can definitely attest to that, because it's how we search for anyone that's been in our system, if they've had any involvement with the law at all, or if they have any type of history, criminal history, and it will automatically pull it up, and it makes it to where it can make it safer for our first responders to respond. Know what they're getting into.
Can we just kind of move forward with it, Mike, and let you get some more bids and just maybe bring us the ones that look best to you? And then maybe we can figure out if
And
we
also,
won't pay
maybe
for it
check
next
with people that's
time.
already using the one that you're getting bid on. If there's places that you can check that's using it.
Absolutely, yes. So I want to be careful about how I presented the specs out there. I didn't want this to appear that this was an actual bid or anything like that. This is simply a budgetary estimate where there's no obligation for us to take any, the top, lowest bid or anything like that. So we can continue to send out the request for budgetary estimates, and legal may tell me something different than what we're doing currently, but we will continue to do that and bring back what the client agencies feel as though are the best three vendors for what we need. I think still we're obligated to put this out to bid unless we get sole source. I don't see that happening necessarily.
I think it'd be good to know the comparison of the issues, the features, what the alternative is versus what we have. What we have essentially is the baseline, and then compare with that and see. Obviously, we don't want to take low. I've been on the board long enough to remember we took low price on building.
Amen, bro. That did not work.
So, but that's the kind of thing I think, you know, we'll understand is your input of comparing, here's A and here's B, even if it's, or A, B, and C, whatever, however you want to present it. I think then that would understand the features. I know what you're saying about knowing what the history is a very vital thing. You hear that in the news all the time when an officer goes out and there's somebody that's a problem and they didn't have benefit of that. And that's when we get down to that kind of thing, that becomes priceless.
And I can tell you, this is not a quick process. Everybody I've talked to says that just the implementation is somewhere around 14 to 18 months. I went to Mount Juliet Police Department, which is only dispatches the police department. Went over there and saw a demo from one of the folks who sent us their estimate. Tyler Chandler, who's the captain over there, he is very thorough, and it took him a year just to settle on this one vendor. And then on top of that was the year and a half of implementing the project. So, you're talking before you go live, from the time you start looking until the time that you go live. So, it's more big.
Do we need to make probably at that point?
I don't think you're at that point. It's basically just providing guidance right now. Move forward.
And just to see if the board is open to potentially spending up to, a couple $1 million on an RMS and CAD. Not committing, just saying that you would look at that, either anything. Okay, over that.
All right, can I just say one thing real quick? I think you've done a great job in figuring out what you want. Just make sure you've got a fine line between that and whatever bid process you end up doing. So get that curtailed as high as possible. And obviously, David's going to be a big help in making sure you jump through those hoops fine. And as far as the motion and stuff, I don't know if y'all want to keep this as an old item on the agenda. If you do, you can do that, or just consider this still a discussion, like the mayor said. That's all the input I got.
Okay. We'll be talking, I'm sure, so I'm more advised.
I'm sure.
Okay. ECC cameras, brought this to you in October. The ECC is looking at purchasing some more cameras for the floor for liability reduction, for investigation purposes also. In September, they reached out to the county's current vendor, which is Corson. Got 2 quotes for camera systems there. One quote was $33,197. Another quote was $42,471. I do think it's important for them to have adequate camera equipment within the ECC where they can conduct their investigations, and again, to reduce liability. So I would ask that the board appropriates an amount for increased security cameras in the ECC. When I told you about this in October, I wanted to wait until later on the fiscal year. I hate to ask for new money. We've obviously done well on our budget, only spending less than 30%, and we're like 3/4 of the way through the year. So I have money within the budget that I can move around if you would approve.
Of course, only when you bid on it.
So this wasn't a bid, and Missy, correct me if I'm wrong, because the county uses Corson here.
So there's a contract.
This could be piggybacked off of, yes, and you could potentially do a sole source for this as well. Again, I'm all about finding the best value, so, we want to take a look and see if there's somebody else that will provide a good alternative, and we can certainly do that as well.
How's the business been within that?
As far as I know, it's been good. I think the county was with HSS, but moved to Corson.
And I believe
We get good response from Corson when we call for things.
Just because this quote was from September 12th, I don't know if y'all noticed, the price has gone up just a little bit. So the highest quote was $42,000. I would ask the board to appropriate up to $50,000. That, again, I can move within my budget currently to pay for additional cameras that need ECC.
Your motion?
Move.
Thank you, Ben. Second. Thank you, Mr. Isbell. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Audit, I don't have books back yet. The auditor called me last week, sent a letter. Actually, they sent the draft audit. Did I send that to all you all? Sure, I did. Put that in an email. Anybody get it? Okay, good, good. There were no findings on the audit for fiscal year ending '22. We talked about this last year because Lemon had sold out to Blankenship, and we had to go with Blankenship because it was late in the year. Between now and May, I do want to go out and get some more quotes from other auditors to see that we're making sure that we get our best bang for our buck. Also, I've looked on the comptroller's site just to see who other districts are using. As we all know, this is sort of a unique position to audit, so we want to make sure that we get somebody that knows what they're doing. So I'll bring that information back to you in May. Now, a motion to approve the audit, or if you want to wait to keep the books in hand. What do you think?
You want to keep the book? Okay.
All right. We'll move through quickly. Budget adjustments. Language interpretation has gone way up this year, so I need to move $2,000 from 4427 to 4430. So approved.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Archie. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you.
ECC training and testing. The ECC is looking to get CALIA accredited. and I've got to look this up again because I forget it every time. CLEA is the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. It's a nationwide recognized organization. I think Gallatin Police Department is CLEA accredited. Many other agencies are also. Communications districts, Knox, Hamilton, and Davidson, right off the top of my head, are CLEA accredited. For also reducing liability, it streamlines and spells out best practices for government agencies to use. I think this is a fantastic endeavor that Christie has chosen to look at, but that comes with a cost. And she's in the middle, or she's right at the beginning of submitting her budget to the executive committee and the county also. I would like to ask that in the next fiscal year that we appropriate $35,000 for testing for the ECC, and this testing will go towards Critical, which does their initial testing. It also provides for psychological testing, drug testing, and physical testing, which will be needed for the CLEA accreditation process. Again, we've reduced some other line items within our budget. AT&T was charging us a few $1,000s a month. We've dropped that back to about $300 a month, and there were some other line items that we have dropped back also. So I think that we could certainly absorb $35,000 to go towards testing for the ECC in our future budgets. But I want to get that approved now, if you will, so Christie knows that she can take that out of her budget that she's submitting to the county.
Thank you, Ben. Second. Thank you, Mayor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right.
All right, IT support. This may be a record length of a meeting for us to go through, but I promise I'm closing out. IT support. The county has been very good to us for IT support. Within our interlocal agreement, we paid the county this year $100,000 for IT support. And Robert Tuttle and his team, anytime that we call them, they come over, but they also have their hands full here. I would like for us to look at potentially hiring someone as an IT specialist for the ECC and the ECD. I know we had problems before, and I certainly don't want that to spill over into what we could potentially do now. This would be an ECD employee, if you approve. I think we also need to look at that, but I'm huge on having a backup plan, and we have to have somebody to back that person up. I would also like to entertain the option of continuing to give the county a stipend for them to be a backup for us as well, because we have to have that backup. If the IT guy runs out, I shouldn't shoot. Stretch out accidentally, get hit by a bus. And you're stuck. So we have to have that redundancy there. Some preliminary figures that I've come up with. I think the county paid anywhere from 65 to 85 for, depending on the IT position. Knox County pays their IT specialist about $65,000 a year, but they pay the county itself $25,000 a year also for IT support. I got quotes from Robertson County. I think they're 55 to 65. Rutherford County is in the 60 to low 70 range. So I would recommend a range of $70,000 to $80,000 based on the projections that I got from from the finance office. An $80,000 salary would also incur about $41,000 that you would have to appropriate for salary and benefits. So that IT position would have to be appropriated at the large end for $111,000 salary and benefits. So I'd like the board to consider an IT position.
You want to add into that the stipend for the county?
And that, yes. And honestly, I don't want to insult anybody, and I would be looking for direction on what to give the county for that support also.
Will this person be a network specialist, or will he just troubleshoot the existing system?
So the network is monitored by Intranet and our current CAD and RMS vendor. But as far as the what you would call that person, I've seen it all over the place. Technical specialist, network administrator. It would just have to be somebody that has SQL knowledge. It has to be somebody who can troubleshoot within the servers, the virtual servers. So I know with your IT background, I'd probably look to you for some guidance on what to call that person also.
We actually talked about this already. You know, with everything going on with our current IT department and the new courthouse opening up, they're stretched pretty thin. So I think it'd be a good idea, and then, you know, we'll certainly continue to answer the phone if your specialist calls, needs any help or anything of that nature, that Robert would still be available. But I do think it'd be a good idea.
Needs a motion.
So what's the chances of us not paying the county their money and then our guy being the backup to them?
But I mean,
So if our guy is hired by us, why couldn't he be the backup for them, to help them if they got a big job going on, or got something, be a backup instead of us paying extra money out to the county?
so
Kind of help each other.
he could, and I'm a big fan of cooperation. However, 911 funds are pretty strict, and it has to be related to 911, and where I don't think that we would be gigged on, you know, if something huge came up at the courthouse, or, you know, something here that, you know, I could send the guy over and let him help. I don't think that we, I would be reluctant to say that this person is available to the county anytime at all.
But I'm just saying like a backup, so it kind of, you know, it's like if our guy broke his leg, we would ask the county to help us. So kind of the same thing, you know, that's just a thought, you know.
I do like that.
And it would save you $30,000 out of our budget, since we're having to take that initial budget to hire a guy first thing.
I would just be reluctant to spend 911 funds deliberately for something that's not 911 related.
They're very strict on that. It's very strict on what you can spend some money for.
I do like what you're saying.
So would a stipend up to 40,000 be sufficient?
I think,
Is this what's coming to the county? Yeah, that would be fine.
Because this guy's gonna, whoever hits this, they're gonna wanna take vacation, sick time. I would put that into your recommendation for the $40,000 in stipend.
okay, so would that be up to $111,000 for salary benefits for the IT position, plus $40,000 to be paid directly to the county as a stipend for information technology assistance for the ECC and ECD?
Yes.
We're talking 151,000.
Yes.
Okay.
And I made it in my motion.
Okay. All right, so 151,000, that is 51,000 more than you're paying now. And I don't see that being a problem with our budget. Just full.
I just want to make sure that we have that in there in case this gentleman or lady or whoever gets this position, when they're out, we've got somebody that's like relying on come in and take care of the piece out.
Okay. I don't think that would require anything for the interlocal agreement to be changed. I think that was written to just go forward. I don't know that there's any amount that has to be changed on there going forward based on how that was written
We're
originally.
gonna have to get someone on the county side now to accept that offer, or? That should be your call, though.
Because technically, the interlocal agreement says that the ECD pays the county
Yeah, that should be your
an amount for IT support. So,
And I think that's a sufficient amount. So, and, you know, like I said, we're gonna be there to answer the phone, we don't want the system to go down. So,
Can I ask a question that could potentially be legal?
yes, sir.
This position you want to fill, are they going to be able to address issues that come up with these service agreements that you're going to be doing? For example, you sat for multiple years waiting on an interface. This could have been something an IT guy could have handled, but he can't because it's wrapped up in a service agreement that you're not getting.
So the issue with the interface, there's
I just
only...
use that as an example.
Sure. Only the vendor, there's proprietary stipulations there that an IT person is not going to be able to handle that. An IT person, however, can handle, as an example, during the storms, Comcast is knocked out. Comcast is the primary provider of internet for our ECC. When that went out, mobile service for our client agencies went out from Friday through Saturday night. The mobile service allows the officers in the cars to see calls, to check on scene, to check off scene. Even the browser that is a read-only for officers who don't have the mobiles to see calls and see details of calls. All that was wiped out. AT&T is our backup, by the way, and that picked up, it didn't cover everything. We have since spoken with Mike Cook from Hendersonville, and Mike is pretty savvy on some IT stuff, and he thinks that he can come up with a way with our IT folks to have an automatic switch, where if Comcast goes down, then AT&T picks up all of the services, like what it's supposed to have. Something like that. An IT person could, when we have faults within the servers at the ECC, they can do a lot of that stuff instead of us having to rely on a third party that's off-site to take care of that.
My only concern was you hiring somebody with expectations that later gets conflicted out because of the service agreement later. So that was my biggest concern.
I see what you're saying there, yes. There would be requirements for, again, SQL, Microsoft SQL. We use that on virtually every program that we have there. But to have somebody on site that can make those adjustments, do the resets, anything like that, that's not going to interfere with the service agreements. They're not going to conflict with an agreement to get us in trouble with somebody else. Good question.
They could bird dog open items, so it was a vendor.
Yeah.
So something doesn't set 3 years and not be attended.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Harris to approve up to $151,000 to hire an employee plus the stipend to the county, right? Any discussion? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Again, that's for going forward in the next fiscal year. Budget committee, I would like to have a budget set up, so when we come back on, what is that, May the 8th, that you guys will be wowed by what we've done and pass a good budget, so continue to keep the operations going. Would you like to establish a committee and a meeting date for that committee?
Committee is typically for being the chairman, the director, and the treasurer. With Okay with leaving it like that?
They stayed the same.
Thank you. You're awful quick on that.
Mr. Archie has said, we've been here too long, we need to get Guthrie out of here. All right, so the chairman, the director, and the treasurer. And, good date for y'all?
Anytime after the first week of the month, it's okay with me.
Okay. Is April 17th, that's a Monday. Is that okay with y'all?
That's county commission.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
No.
We can do that after the meeting.
I'm on April 18th at 7 a.m.
That's fine. That's not good.
Is April 19th, that's a Wednesday. Is that, oh, okay. Is April 19th okay? All right, April 19th, 9 a.m. here. Okay.
You want to do it in this room?
Yes, sir.
I'll double check just to make sure it's available. I'm sure it is.
Okay, thanks, sir. All right, Mr. Chairman, I can't think of anything else to talk about, so.
Mr. McKinney, I was going to say a motion to adjourn. Thank you, sir.